أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So, in our course for the next 4 weeks, we shall be talking more about water governance and policy. So this is what we are going to cover in the next 4 weeks. Now, I have already shared with you all the reference books. So I'd like you to review and read more during your free time there and just review the references so that you can get at least the concepts related to this course. Then I've also shared with you the course outline. So basically, the course outline is a breakdown of what we shall be covering in the next 4 weeks. Then another important thing another important thing in the course outline is the course evaluation, which is very important. So number one, in the course of evaluation, we shall be having the class attendance, and the class attendance is 20%. Then number two, we have the research, or sometimes it can be a quiz, or sometimes it can be a policy brief. So that will also account for 20% of your course. Then lastly, we shall have the final exam, and the final exam will cover 60%. So that is in brief how we are going to do what? To evaluate this course. And the most important thing is to attend the classes on a regular basis. Because if you attend the classes on a regular basis, number one, you are going to understand the lesson. You'll understand each and everything that is happening. Then number two, remember the attendance has 20 marks. So for you to get the 20 marks, then you have to attend all the lessons. But some students, sometimes they don't attend the lesson, so they end up not scoring good marks. Because for each and every lesson you miss, then you also miss 3 marks. Now, let us start our lesson. So remember this course, the name is Water Governance and Policy. And when you're talking about water governance, we are basically talking governance in Arabic is known as al-hawkama, and policy, they're known as siyasat. So basically, we are talking about siyasat the policies and the governance. When you're talking about governance, we are basically talking about decision making related to water, and we shall discuss it in detail. Now, let us start our first lesson today. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So these are the lesson objectives for our lesson today. By the end of this lesson, we should be able to, number one, define water governance and explain its key components, mukawinat. Number two, identify and explain the core elements of water governance. Then number three, differentiate between water governance and water management. That is hawkamatul miyah wa idaratul miyah. Are they the same thing? Then again, describe the global water crisis and explain the concept of water scarcity and nudra. Then explain the major causes and impacts of water quality issues. And this is where a talawuth comes. This is when you are talking about water pollution. What causes water pollution? Then you will also talk about the challenges that faces water governance. Then you'll also have to explain issues related to access to water. Then akhiran, you should be able to apply these concepts to real world situation. So in brief, this is what we are going to cover in our lesson today. Now, let us start. So as we are starting this lesson, I need you to think about this question. Like when you turn on a tap, what systems and decisions make that water available? This is just a question as we are starting this lesson. When you turn up on a tap, when you turn on a tap, you are in Somali, mathalan, when you turn on this tap every day, what systems and decisions make that water available? So the answer to this question is what is known as water governance. Now, and so this is what you should be thinking about. When you turn on a tap, what systems and decisions make the water available? So number one, what you should be thinking, the infrastructure. There are some pipes, there are some dams. So before you turn on the tap, there is the infrastructure, the piping. So before the water reaches your house, there is the infrastructure. Then number two, institutions. In Somali, what institutions govern the availability of water? Is it the Ministry of Water and Irrigation, if you have it? Do you have parastatals? What institutions? Then number three, policies in your country in Somali. The pricing of water. Who decides how much you have to pay? Who decides that? Allocation rules. Who decides that area A, they are going to get this quantity of water, area B, they are going to get this water, ila ghairi dhalik. Who decides that? Then what are the natural systems of water in your country? It can be rivers, aquifers, you can have oceans. So this is basically what should be in your mind when you are talking about water governance. So what you are basically saying, the key message, water access is not just technical, no. So water access is deeply political, social, and institutional. And this is what we are going to cover in detail in our lesson today. So when you're just drinking the cup of water, there are a lot of things that were involved politically, socially, institutionally before you access that water. Okay. Now, let us go to now the definition, which is very important. I need you to focus with this definition because in an exam, sometimes you can be asked, what is water governance? ماذا نعني بحوكمة المياه؟ ماذا نعني بهذا؟ فما هو التعريف? What is the definition? So, water governance refers to the political, social, economic, and administrative systems that determine how water resources are developed, managed, allocated, and used. So this definition has two parts. So we are going to start with the first part of the definition, which is in yellow. So water governance means it is the political, social, economic, and administrative systems. What do we mean by these four things? Number one, what do we mean by political systems? So political system means this involves government policies, laws, and decision-making processes about water. Mathalan, who controls water in your country? Regulations. Who makes the laws related to water? Is it the parliament? Is it the local government? And what are the national strategies related to water? Number two, social systems. So this one, it focuses on communities, cultures, and groups interact with water. So these are the issues related to fairness. In Somali, you have many regions, but is there fairness when water is being distributed? Because you can find that some areas, they don't have water. Why? Maybe because the government, the president is not from that tribe. So they don't get enough water. So one tribe, one region, they get water. Another region, they don't get water. So this is what is known as access. Then public participation. So before the government decides anything to deal with water, there is what is known as stakeholder participation. So if the government, for example, wants to build a dam in Mogadishu, the people in Mogadishu, they have to be involved before the government decides. Then there is the traditional practices. Then number 3, economic system. So this is concerned how water is financed and valued. In Somalia, how is water financed? Who decides how much water should cost? This includes pricing, the investment in water. Is the government investing a lot in water? And how water is allocated to sectors like agriculture, industry, and household. This is a very economic, it's an economic decision, because in a country, you have many sectors. So who decides that which sector should get more of the water than the other sector? Is it the agriculture? Is it the industry? Is it the household? So this is a question that needs to be answered. Then administrative systems. So these are the institutions, the agencies, and organizations responsible for implementing policies, managing supply of the water, and maintaining the infrastructure. So this is the work of the administrative system. So this is what water governance is all about. So this is the first part, the political, social, economic, and administrative system. Now let us go to the second part of the definition. So water governance refers to the political, social, economic, and administrative system that determine how water resources are, this is the second part, they are developed, managed, allocated, and used. So what do we mean by development? Developed. So developed refers to how water resources are sourced, like al-masadir al-miyah. Where do we get our water? And if you want to expand, how does that happen? Number 2, managed, day-to-day control and maintenance of water system to ensure sustainability and efficiently. Who is managing this water? Because when you're talking about water supply, we are talking about the supply side and the demand. So who manages this, the supply and the demand? Because it should be at the equilibrium. Who is going to decide that? It's water governance. Then number 3, allocated. How water is distributed among users. This is what we were just talking about previously. The farmers, how much do they get? The cities, how much should they get? The industry. So often involving rules or priorities, al-awlawiyat, because water is not given to each and every person. Hunak al-awlawiyat. There are some sectors. For example, many countries in Africa, the water goes to the agricultural sector, because that is the backbone of each and every economy. Then lastly, used. That is the actual consumption of water in different sectors and how efficiently it is used. So water governance is all about how do we use our water? Are we using our water israfan, or are we using our water iktiswadan? This is one of the most important areas in water governance, because when we are using water, we have to be very careful. We should not do israfan, because there is the future generation that is coming, and they will also need water. So when you are taking your wudu, you should not be wasting that water, because somebody else in another area needs that water. Okay? So in short, water governance is about who makes decision about water. Is it the minister? Is it the MP? Is it the government? Do we have an institution? Who makes the decision? Number 2, how those decisions are made. How are they made? Then lastly, how water is shared and used in society. So هذا here خلاصة القول. So who and the how. That is all about, that is what the water governance actually deals with. Okay? And now, what are the core elements of water governance? When we are talking about water governance, ما هي أهم الأشياء? When you're talking of core elements mean الأساسيات. ما هي الأساسيات? ما هي القواعد, the foundation. So number one, decision-making process. So this is all about how choices about water use and management are made. Who is involved, how decisions are reached, and whether the process is transparent and fair. So when you're talking about decision making, it is very important. There should be the element of washawirhum fil amr. Any decision about water, the population, the constituents of any region, they need to be involved in those decisions. And if all of them cannot be involved, then they are representative in parliament. That is why you have an MP. The work of the MP is to represent his people when they're making any decision in the parliament about water. Number two, institution and organization. Al-mu'assisat wal-munazzamat. These are the bodies responsible for water management, such as government agency, local authorities, NGOs, and water boards. Number three, it's all about al-qawanin or siyasat, laws and policies, the rules and regulations that guide how water is protected. Every country, they have a rule about this. Number two, how is water distributed? Then lastly, how is water used? So there is a law, and we shall talk about this water law. Then stakeholder participation. This is also related to the first point, which is decision making. So stakeholder participation, the involvement of all interested groups, the communities, the farmers, the business, in planning, تخطيط, and decision making, اتخاذ القرارات about water. So this point is related to number one, decision making. So in decision making لازم يكون هناك ماذا؟ إشراك. You need to involve all the people in the country. Then power relations. How influence and control over water resources are distributed. Who has the authority? Who benefits most? And who may be marginalized? These are the core issues that normally happens actually in our countries. Sometimes you have the authority. So those people, the parliamentarians, the president, the ministers, they have sometimes the authority. Sometimes they might use their authority. So they supply, they ensure that their area have enough water. But the masakin, nobody is representing them. They are suffering a lot. They don't have water. So in short, these elements explain who is involved, how decisions are made, what rule exists, and how power and participation shape water management. Okay? Now, in brief, khulasatul qawl, water governance answers this question. Number one, who gets water? Is it Mohammed? Is it Khadija? Is it Mogadishu? Is it Buro? Is it Hergesa? Is it Boroma? Who gets the water? Number two, how much do they get? How many liters do they get? Then at what price? And this is why we also have in this lesson, in this course, we have what is known as water financing, the economics of water. اقتصاديات المياه. Who decides? Then lastly, how are conflict resolved? If there is any conflict related to water, مثلا, how are they going to be solved? So this is just an example. Consider a river basin. There is a country, for example, in Mogadishu, you have a river basin. So you have farmers want irrigation. Cities want drinking water. Industries want production use. Environmental groups want ecosystem protection. So how can you balance all? There are many people here. There are very many stakeholders. So governance determines whose needs are prioritized. So that is the work of water governance, because all of these people here, they want water. And remember, hunaka water scarcity, hunaka nudra fil miyah. We have water scarcity. The supply does not always equal the demand in Africa. You know, the demand of water is up there, but the supply is low here. So that is why there need to be some governance. So it is only through water governance that we will decide who is going to get what and what at what capacity are they going to get it. That is very important. Okay. Now, another important thing that many people normally confuse, what is known as governance and water management. Are they the same? No, so some people will tell you, no, they're the same. Management and governance, they mean the same thing. But no, these two words are not the same. So governance, al-hawkama, and al-idara are not the same thing. So when you are talking about water management, idaratul miyah, it normally focuses with, number one, technical and operational aspects. That is the practical work of handling water system, the engineering, the piping, the maintenance, and the operation. Number two, infrastructure, the dams, pipes, treatment plants. That is the physical structure. Structures used to store, transport, and treat water. Then lastly, day-to-day delivery of water services, ensuring water reaches users regularly and safely. That is the work of the management of water. So if you are in your house, you know, the water management in your region, they have to ensure that you get this water regularly and safely. Safely means that it should not be contaminated. It should not be polluted. Now, that is what water management is all about. Fil muqabil, indana water governance. This is what we were talking about, al-hawkama. So this is all about rules, power, and decision making. Who makes decision about water and how authority is distributed. Number two, policies and institutions, the laws and organizations that guide water management. Thalithan, accountability and participation, ensuring decision makers are responsible and that people can take part in decision. So khulasatul qawl, we can say that water governance is all about making decisions. Then water management is about implementing those decisions. So we have water governance, صنع القرار, اتخاذ القرار. ثم إدارة المياه or the water management is تنفيذ. What they decided, now we have to put it into action. So those are the two things there. Now, in simple analogy, when you're talking about analogy in simple terms, if you want to understand the difference between the two, we can say management is doing things right. That is efficiently operating system, ensuring that the system you're having around, it is working. People are getting enough water. People are getting clean water. So that is a system that is efficient. But if you are in your house, you don't get water for 4 days. If you are in your house, you get dirty water, then that is not management. Somebody is sleeping somewhere. Then number two, governance, deciding. That is what I told you, اتخاذ القرارات. Deciding the things to do. That is choosing priorities and doing what? And direction. Now, look at this example. So management is like fixing a leaking pipe. There is a pipe that is leaking, we fix it. But governance is deciding which community gets piped water first. Which community? Because in a country, you have many communities, you have many regions. So which region can we start with? Then which region will be next? Then which one will be the last? So that is what governance is all about. So good management alone is not enough without good governance. So good management alone is not enough without good governance, outcomes can still be unfair or ineffective. So you are being told that you need all these two things. So you cannot, if you have a good management but a bad governance, the end result is catastrophic. And the opposite is true. So, for example, a country may have well functioning infrastructure, mashallah, the tapping system, the piping, mashallah, is very good. But, walakin, if policies are poor, some communities may still lack access to water. So that is basically, so it basically means the governance side of it is not working. Yes, the management is working, the infrastructure is good, but the accessibility side, not many people are getting the water. Now, so we have finished the first part of our lesson, which was the definition of water governance and what water governance entails, and the difference between water governance and water management. Now, let us go to the next part of our lesson, which is about the global water crisis. When we are talking about crisis, we are talking about al-azma, because we have crisis and we have disaster. When you're talking about a disaster, it's al-karitha. And when you're talking about asthma, it is crisis. And asthma is bigger than karith. So, are we having a water crisis in the world now? And what is water crisis? How can we manage this water crisis? Now, what is water? What is global water crisis? It refers to the worldwide problem, worldwide. So global means what? Alami. So refers to the worldwide problem. هناك المشكلة في ماذا? Of insufficient غير كافي, insufficient access to safe, reliable, and affordable water, affecting people, ecosystem, and economies. So we don't have enough, insufficient access to safe. When you're talking about safe, we're talking about clean water. We don't have, especially in Africa. Reliable. Reliable means this water is not enough for today and tomorrow. We are having a problem of sustainability. That is, today, yes, we have a cup of water, but we don't know tomorrow. Are we going to drink? Are we going to have a cup of water tomorrow? Then, and affordable water. Yes, the water is there. Walakin, not all the people can afford the water. So that is where equity comes in place. You find that in some countries, if you have money, you have water. If you don't have money, you don't have water. That is how the world operates, للأسف شديد. Now, water scarcity, nudratul miyah. What is nudra? A situation where water demand exceeds available supply, or where access to water is limited. So this is what I was telling you before. Because when we're talking about water, we have two sides. We have demand, at-talab, when you have supply, al-ard. So in Africa, you'll find that at-talab is high. We need this water. Our needs are more. But lil-asaf, the supply side is not enough. So there is a gap. There is a deficit. Now, when you're talking about types of water scarcity, there are two types. Number one, we have physical scarcity. Number two, economic scarcity. So in an exam sometimes, you can be asked, ما هي الفرق بينهما? In an exam, you can be asked, what is the difference between physical scarcity and economic scarcity? Now, this is the difference. Let us start with physical scarcity. So physical scarcity means not enough water available to meet demand. خلاص يعني we don't have ما عندنا المياه كافية. We don't have enough water. Not enough water available. So our demands are more than the supply. And this is common in arid and dry regions where natural water resources are limited. For example, if you go to a desert, khalas, we have physical scarcity. We don't have enough water. Now, on the other side, we have economic scarcity. Economic scarcity, water is available. هناك المياه ولكن ما هي المشكلة? But people lack access due to poor infrastructure. The piping is not enough. Or maybe we don't have enough engineers. Funding, no money. Or management, there is a lot of corruption. Or the people who are managing the water, they are incompetent or corrupt. And this is common in many developing countries. When you're talking about developing countries, we are talking about countries in Africa. So هناك المياه ولكن هناك سوء التخطيط، سوء الإدارة، سوء الحوكمة إلى غير ذلك. You know, so this is the difference between the two. Physical, we don't have enough. The supply is less and the demand is high. Economic, we have it. But the people, there is corruption, there is a problem with the infrastructure. Now, what are the key drivers of water scarcity? Like, we're talking about a nudra. Who causes this problem? Why is it that we don't have enough water? Limadha? Number one, population growth. الزيادة في عدد السكان. More people increase demand for water, especially in Africa. The population is growing. The population is growing geometrically, right? Or is it arithmetically? Geometrically. Every day the population, people are increasing. And so there is the strain in the water supply. So the scarcity comes because of what? It comes because of the population growth. Number two, urbanization. Expanding cities put pressure on water supply system. If you go to Mogadishu now, if you go to Hergesa, Mathalan, people are building a lot of houses every day. These houses, they need water, and you don't have enough water. You know, that is why you find in many towns, there is what is known as rationing. Now, because the houses are many, some 2 days, this area, they get water. Another 2 days, another area, they get water. Another 2 days. So they have to ration the water. Limadha? Because it's not enough. You've decided to build many houses. Not going to work like that. Number three, climate change. So climate change alters rainfall patterns, causing droughts and unpredictability. And this is normally happen. Now you find that during those old days, we did not have a problem with the climate. Like if the rainfall used to come in March, khalas, you just sleep, wait for March, rain. But nowadays, you find March, you don't have rain. And if you don't have enough rain, you're going to have drought. And if you have drought, it means the water is not there. And the climate change, it is the people who are causing the climate change. It is the industrialization, cutting trees. All these have a net effect on the supply of water. Then, lastly, over extractions, especially groundwater. So excessive use of water sources faster than they can recharge, especially over extraction. You find there is a borehole here, there is another borehole there, there is another borehole there. So we over extract, and the net effect is that it's going to affect us. We are going to have water scarcity. Now, if you look closely here, this is what we are talking about, water scarcity. So this is a framework that explains more about water scarcity. So number one, remember, when we are talking about water scarcity, we have the demand side and we have the supply side. So availability, we are talking of the supply side. Then we have the demand side. You know? Now, when you are talking about the supply, what is happening? There is something that is happening in the supply. We have overexploited the groundwater. We are using a lot of boreholes, digging boreholes every day. Number two, the surface water is polluted. Then number three, rainfall, it's not collected. We don't have dams. So it rains, and the rain and the water is just wasted. So that is the supply, the problem. What causes scarcity in the supply side? The demand. The demand side here, we have what? Population, more people, urbanization, concentrated demand. Many people are coming to town. They are building houses. Towns are growing. Then the consumption, water per person, the consumption rate per person has also increased. If, for example, you are on a daily basis, you are supposed to drink 1 liter of water, and how many people are in the world? How many billions are there? Is it enough? It's not going to be enough, you know. So that is what causes the what? The water scarcity. Then on the flip side, we also have the climate change. So the climate change has done what? Climate change is also leading to this water scarcity. We don't have enough rain. We have the drought, you know. Now we also have the industry. The industry side is leading, because the industry, they use a lot of water. Agriculture, they use a lot of water, you know. Now the net effect is, if the water is scarce, then there is the energy security. If we don't have water, we don't have energy, right? If we don't have water, food security. We don't have enough food. If we don't have water, there is human health that's going to be affected. Also, the environmental impact. You know, the water exploited beyond renewal capacity, often at the expense of ecosystem. Water quality deterioration. So this is what is known as a talawuth filmia. A talawuth is all about what? A talawuth is all about polluting the water. So this framework can help us a lot when it comes to understanding the water scarcity. So now we have finished the second part of our lesson. Now we are going to the third part of our lesson. And the third part of our lesson is about water quality issues. When you're talking about quality, we are talking about al-jawda. When you're talking about water quality issues, we can also talk about water pollution. So we will continue after the break. I will send you another link, because I normally use the Zoom. So the Zoom, after every 35 minutes, it gets off. So I have to wait for another 10 minutes. So we'll go for a 10 minutes break. Then after the 10 minutes break, then I will come back and we will continue. So I will send a second link after 10 minutes, because I only have 1 minute before the end of this link. It's going to expire. So after that, we'll wait for another 8 minutes before I send you another link. Okay. Now, is there any question before we start the second part or the third part?
Yes.
Now, is there a question? Or we continue?
No.
So we'll continue after the. So we'll continue after the break. We'll be talking after the break. We'll talk about water quality. And when you're talking about water quality, we are talking about pollution. That is what water quality issues are. So water quality issues refers to the contamination. Contamination means what? Talawuth. Contamination of water sources. Maswadir al-miyah. So this contamination makes water